This little guy is my favorite sewing project of the whole video because looking at it, it's like, what even is that? And you're like, it's a bookmark. And they're like, ooh. Hey guys, it's Kaylee and welcome to my channel, Happy Makes Me. And in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you sewing projects that you can make in 10 minutes or less because let's face it, we're all busy. If you're into a quick sewing project, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already because I've actually shared a couple of videos like this before in the past and you guys seem to really enjoy them. So with all that said, let's get started. First, let's start out by making this enamel pin display banner. For this project, you're also going to need a dowel cut to size and some string in order to display your banner. I'll link to the one that I use below. First thing you're going to do is cut your fabric to size. I made mine 13 by 13 inches, but you can really customize it to fit your space. Then fold your fabric in half and cut at an angle to make the pointed bit at the end. Trim your corners to reduce bulk, then fold in all of your edges 1/4 of an inch and press. Then fold them in 1/4 of an inch again, press, and then pin in place. Fold in the top edge 1/4 of an inch and press. Then fold it down to fit your dowel. I folded mine down about 1/2 of an inch. Press and pin in place. Sew along the entire border of your banner close to the edge. Trim any loose threads and give your completed banner a good press. Then insert your dowel. You can easily finish it off by dabbing a little bit of hot glue and wrapping a string around it so that you can hang it from a nail and display it on a wall. And now you have a completed enamel pin display banner. Next, let's make this adorable knotted headband. For this project, you're also going to need a piece of 1-inch elastic measuring about 6 inches long. For the main part of your headband, you're going to cut your fabric 20 inches by 6 inches, and then cut a smaller piece to cover the elastic that measures 10 inches by 3 inches. First, fold both of your pieces in half and press. Pin the open edge in place. Then sew along the open edge of both pieces of fabric. Next, turn your fabric pieces right sides out and press. Insert your elastic piece into the smaller tube of fabric and pin it in place. Use the safety pin to guide the rest of the elastic through your fabric tube and pin the edge in place. Sew your fabric to your elastic using a zigzag stitch. On the main piece of your headband, fold the open edges inward about 1/4 of an inch and press in place. Tie the main part of your headband in a knot. Insert the fabric tube containing the elastic and kind of mush the open edges a little bit so that they completely fit around the elasticated tube. Pin in place and sew. That's it. Now you have a knotted headband. Ready for some fall vibes? Let's make this adorable pumpkin. For this project, you're also going to need some stuffing. I use some polyester fiber fill that you can find at any craft store, and I'll make sure to link it in the description box below. You're also going to need to use something for your pumpkin stem. I just went in my backyard and found a tree branch and cut it down to size. You can use any circular template for this project. I'm using an embroidery hoop that's about 8 inches, but the bigger your template, the bigger your pumpkin is going to be. Set your machine to the longest stitch length possible and sew a row of gathering stitches around the entire circle of fabric, making sure not to back tack and leaving long thread tails for your fabric. The reason why you want to leave long thread tails is because you're going to have to pull on those in order to gather up the fabric a bit to make it into a kind of pouch, and then insert your stuffing as you go to your desired pumpkin fluffiness. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a saying now, okay? We have fluffy pumpkins, people. Once your pumpkin is as fluffy as you want it, pull your thread tails in order to close the top of your fabric. When it hits you, yes, you shall. When it hits you. Then insert one of the thread tails onto a needle and insert it into the bottom of your pumpkin. This is going to help make your pumpkin bumps for a more realistic look. When it hits you, insert your little pumpkin stem And this is totally optional, but I think the look is super adorable. I just used some pinking shears and some felt fabric that I had laying around and cut them into a leaf shape. And I just used some hot glue in order to secure it all. And then that's it. You're done. You can now make a legion of these pumpkins for your house. Next, it's time to make your corner bookmark. Start by cutting 3 pieces of fabric measuring 3.5 by 3.5 inches. If you have a thinner piece of fabric, you're also going to want a piece of interfacing with the same measurements. If you're using interfacing, start by adding it to your fabric. Then fold in half diagonally and press. Sandwich the diagonal piece in between your 2 main pieces of fabric with right sides facing. Pin in place. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew around the edge of your bookmark, making sure to leave about a 1 inch gap. Trim your corners and any excess fabric that you may have. Turn your fabric right sides out through the gap and use something like a knitting needle or a pencil in order to push out your corners. Give your bookmark a good press. And then sew along the entirety of the bookmark close to the edge, making sure to sew the opening closed. And that's it. Now you have a completed bookmark. The last project we're going to make is this super practical reusable straw case. For this project, you're also going to need 1/4 inch elastic cut 2 inches long. First, cut 2 pieces of fabric measuring 3 inches by 18 inches long. Lay your fabric pieces on top of each other, right sides facing, and pin in place. Sew along all of your edges, leaving about a 1 inch gap. Next, trim your corners and turn your fabric right sides out through the gap. Use something like a knitting needle to push out your corners. Give your fabric piece a good press. Then fold up the bottom edge of your bag about 2/3 of the way, making sure to sandwich your piece of elastic in between your front and back pieces. Pin in place. Sew along the edges of your bag, making sure to sew the opening at the top closed. Turn your fabric right sides out, and now you have a carry case for your reusable straws. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed these super simple projects that you can sew in under 10 minutes. If you're into sewing videos like this one, make sure you give it a thumbs up if you're feeling it, and ding the notification bell so that you can find out if more videos like this post. I love you and appreciate you so much for watching. I hope you have the best day ever, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!